Kumlen Ablat Gemara, Erev Shabbos Kedesh Parshas Pekudei. We are up to today's daf Tazayin. We are up to the Tezvav base in the bottom, and we're still discussing about a stolen field and the buyer, the rights he has, and we have a fascinating discussion right now. We're about 7 lines from the bottom of the page. Shmuel asked Rav a question. It's not often that you find Shmuel and Rav consulting each other. We do know that Rav once cursed out Shmuel that he shouldn't have any sons and he only had daughters, and since then Rav always gave cover to Shmuel when Rav was much older, and Rav learned by Rebbe and all that. But you don't have too many times where Rav or Shmuel have a discussion, an intro-discussion. So Shmuel asked Rav the following question: what happens? Okay, Reuben stole the field, sold it to Shimon, and then Reuben, perhaps he feels guilty, or perhaps he did it for his own vested interest. He turned around to the victim. He said, "You know what? I stole your field. Here's $1,000 that your field is worth," and that's it. The question is, he did that. Who owns the field now? Do we say that he recognizes, acknowledges the sale that he himself made to Shimon, and therefore their field remains with Shimon, and when he bought it, he bought on behalf of Shimon? Or do we say, no, now it belongs to Reuben, he turned around to Shimon and is giving back my field? I never guaranteed you it was stolen. It was stolen. At the time he sold it, it was a stolen field, and they never give it back to me. So that's the question. So he bought it from the first owner. When he bought it now, did he buy it for himself or did he buy it for the purchaser? So they said to him, Rav answered Shmuel, when Reuben initially sold the field to Shimon, he sold not only the field, but all the rights that he had or he will have regarding this field. So if Reuben eventually becomes the owner of the field, that right that he now is the owner of the field, he sold already to Shimon, and therefore it's a valid sale. Any schus that he has in his hand. So interesting is the whole discussion, but we're saying that initially when he sold it to Shimon, he already had in mind. Initially when he sold it to Shimon, back then, he sold him all future rights as well, which really falls under the category of a dover shaloi bala olam, something which doesn't exist yet, and was a big machlekes if a dover shaloi bala. Okay, no, Reuben, when he sold the field to Shimon, Reuben had no ownership of the field. He didn't buy the field yet for the victim, nothing, and he already at that time sold him all future rights. That's dover shaloi bala olam, which would mean that Rav paskins like the ones who said dover shaloi bala olam is a good kinyan, which that's how some learn. Others learn, no, nothing to do with Shabbat. We're talking about now when he bought the field from the victim, that moment, did he have in mind, we're now assessing what he had in mind. He had in mind that the field should end up with Shimon, or he bought it for himself. But not in the past when he originally sold the field, because that falls under Shabbat. We want to say that goes according to everybody. But either way, Reuben stole the land and he sold to Shimon, which turned up being not a sale. It was a dud sale, and he never guaranteed.
Anything that makes him a buyer?
Karka ain't exelis. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And he never gave a guarantee to Shimon that he's going to. Remember, we did say is that he turned out to be stolen. He has to give back his money. We had a discussion. What about the investment? The improvements. Whether he give that back to him or not. But there was no sale. Okay. So the Gemara says, my timer. Why do you think that he wants to ultimately belong to Shimon? What's the logic? Either now or back then. You think he wants to walk around? He wants people to walk around saying this guy's a galip, especially the lokech. Who's going to be the one, the big accuser? The one who bought the field, spent money, and turned the people to a stolen field. He doesn't want people accusing him of being a galip, so therefore he's happy for the field to remain with Shimon. Or Rav Ashi says, Rav Ashi says that he wants people, especially the Lekeach, to trust his word. When he said, I'm selling you a property, he wants people to trust his word. That's why he's going to make sure the property remains with Shimon. Because he wanted my benayah. Then there was them calling Gazan, or they wants that people should trust him. The mis Lekeach. What happens if Reuben sold to Shimon and Shimon died? Rashi says that Shimon died after Reuben bought the field back. And now the Ganef goes to Shimon and he says, I take my field back because I now own the field. At the time when I sold you, it wasn't mine. So that's what Rashi learns. Others learned another. He died before the Gazan bought it back. Anyway, so what's the difference? I don't want the buyer to call me Gazan Hamesa. He dead. He's not going to call want people to trust my word. I want the children to think I'm an honest person. I don't understand. And the children won't come again. So you said, they look at Gazlana. What's the difference if the father's alive and the children ended up with a field they're about to lose? They'll call him again. Alika ben Aidim is Gazlan. What happened the other way around? What happened? The Gazlan died after he bought it. He then died, and now the children are going to Shimon to take the field back. Mandam, the one who said that the Hamisla, he's dead. He cares what people call him. Or the Mandam and that he wants that his name should should be trustworthy. He wants people. So if again, what's the difference? Is the Yavam. What happens if Reuven, instead of selling it to Shimon, Reuven actually gave it to him as a gift? He gave him as a gift. If the word is he wants people now, and Shimon never paid a penny for it. He gave Shimon a matana, a property which turned out to be stolen. If the word is he wants people to say he's an honest person, they could trust his word. Even though he gave them as a gift, he still wants. I said I'm giving you a gift. Turned out to be he wasn't. So he's going to maintain, or he's going to try to somehow or another make sure that his word remains the way it is. He wants people to trust him. If the word is I don't want to call me a gazlan, matana, you didn't pay a penny for it. And only my gazlanim, what I still did hurt you? That cost you anything? Nothing. But honest, I'm not. I'm not a gazlan. The gazlan here doesn't hurt you, but honest, I'm not. Says the Gemara. Shame already asked. So even if he sold it to him, since he's going to reimburse him the money, remember if Shimon loses the field, you got to make the money. He won't call you gazlan anymore because he got his money back. So they said, but that interim period, he's nervous. Well, I get my money back. He walks around telling everybody he's a gazlan. I don't know. You a chamson when he forces you to take money. No, but that's the din. The din is no. I never sold you to the first place. I never sold you anything. No. Who's him? No. There's a nignev, Reuben and Shimon. Reuben sold it to Shimon, and now Reuben goes to the nignev and buys the field, and we're saying that Reuben from a nignev, and now he goes to Shimon. Yeah, but that's something else. But that's between these two. It doesn't affect Shimon. Okay, back to Gemara. To that, there's no question. What happens if Zabna? What happens if Reuben, after he sold the stolen field to Shimon, turned around and sold the same field to Levi, or he sold to Levi? And we're talking about before he bought it, the field back from the nigga. If he turned around and sold the very same field to somebody else, no, but the guy's a real sleazy guy. Or Yarta, he gave it over, he yashed it to his children, or V'yava Matana. No, before he bought it back and fixed things up, he did one of these things. He went and sold it to somebody else, gave it away to somebody else as a gift. Is definitely lavla ukva kamela kerkaboy. There's no question that now when he paid off the you can't say, oh, suddenly he had a pang of he has a guilty conscience. He sold the same field to 5 people, no guilty conscience. So he proved with his actions that he's a sleazebag. What happens? He didn't. What do you call it? What happens if, let's say, the Gazan, he didn't go and buy it from Reuben? Let's say he stole it from his father or his uncle, and then they died, and he's the one who yashes it. He's not Lebirusha. What happens now? Do we say that he goes to Shimon because he feels guilty? Doesn't want to call it Gazan? No, since Yerushim and Mele, he did nothing to obtain this property, didn't demonstrate anything. Valavi Katarachabasha did nothing. Is therefore the Shimon we don't say the field now belongs to Shimon. He has a panga, has a guilt conscience, some remorse. Not at all. He didn't make any effort. It was a windfall. What about Gobi Il B'Chayvay? What happens? The Nigniv, Reuben stole it from somebody, but that person happened to owe Reuben money. And he turns around to Reuben, the field, he turns around to Niggs, the field that I stole from you? I'm going to count that as that's a repayment of that loan. In this case as well. So what the question is, he made an effort, but it's something that was due to him. So the question is this: so this is the asset test. 100%. He did the wrong thing, but now that he says, you know what, I'm keeping the field, and you owe me nothing. So I'm turning it legal. Do we say that he's doing it in order to give Shimon the field, so he shouldn't call him a gazlan, or should be faithful, trust my word, or This is different because he's clearing a loan. This is the asset test. Chazina we see. Let's say the borrower had many fields, and you go to the bar, you owe me $100. That field that I stole from you, I want to keep for that $100. The fact that he highlighted this particular field means he wants the shima to keep it, and he wants to fix up his name. He wants to redeem himself. He did it for the lekech. But let's say there are no other fields. There are no other fields available. This is the only field. He didn't in any way demonstrate that he has some kind of guilt and is trying to redeem himself. He's owed money, so he's saying, you have an element, the guy owes him money, so he took the field. No, nothing to do with trying to redeem himself and say, Shimon, you keep it. What about you have an element? What happens to Nignif? Turns around, what a nice guy. He says to the guy, you know what? Keep my field. Keep my field. Do we say it's a windfall like a Yerusha? Or do we say a matana is like a sale? Why is like a sale? Because generally you don't give, we had before, you don't give matanas to strangers. Why am I giving you matana? Because obviously you were nice to me over the years. You made an effort to win my friendship. That's just like a sale. That's just like a sale. So therefore, there's a whole discussion if a Rav is allowed to take matanas. We say so about Hazichia. If a Rav take matanas in Shulchan Aruch in the Yerdei, similar to fascinating discussion between the Ramah, the postum later on, and the word is that if you take matanas, everything comes at a cost. If the Rav takes matana, suddenly he's beholden to that person, and if there's a dispute, he'll always side with that person, consciously or subconsciously. So matana is like an investment, both ways. So that's one question. You have a matana, it's a windfall, therefore it doesn't mean a shimmer should keep it. Like a sale. But he loved the Torah of Atzikameh. He wouldn't have worked hard to become his friend. He worked hard. You should trust him. So we see from here the fact that Gemara uses the reason not that you shouldn't call me a Gana, but you should be trustworthy. The halacha is like Rav Ashi versus Mazutra. And Tosha says it just. Rav Ashi is known as a Godel b'Chachma v'Mini, that he was far greater than Mazutra because he was greater in Chachma, and also he had the whole Bezin with him, the whole yeshiva with him. Then going further, when do we say that? We look at the Gonzalez actions and he's buying back the field. We say, you know what? Or he's paying up the Nignib. He's doing it to redeem himself and help Shimon out. How far do we go? Cold man, he didn't end up yet in the Din Torah. We're saying that he had remorse. The moment you have to schlep him into a bezdin, obviously has no remorse whatsoever, and therefore don't think for 1 minute he did it to help out the Shimon. He did it to get him to save himself. Even after going to bezdin, could still be filled with remorse until the Stara Drachte. The Stara Drachte is when they give the guy permission and say, okay, he didn't pay you, go seize his properties. So that's called a Stara Drachte. After you find the property, you understand the Baba Kama. After you found the property, you have then 30 days, you make an announcement, make a public auction, whatever it is that's available. So in other words, even after that drachter, you see this field, and you point out the best, this is the field. Even till then, could be he's doing it to help the guy out. Could be he's still a mensch somewhere deep down. But once the achrast already, for whatever he does, it's not for to help anybody else. I'm going to ask a question. I don't understand. You're telling me that this Ganav, when he gave the money, it's as if he bought the field right now. He did, and he bought on behalf of Shimon. How did it become Shimon's? Shimon has no property, has no star, no document. He was sitting on a field that didn't belong to Reuven or to himself. So how is Shimon kind of? Only with the star, but just a piece of paper, it's nothing, a piece of clay, it's nothing worth. Teja already asked, what do you mean? But he's sitting in the land. So that's a kinya chazaka. So Teja says, it seems from here that the moment the Gazlan bought it, automatically becomes Shimon's, even though he didn't make another kinyan, didn't do anything after that. Automatically comes his. So then there's that same question. The money that Shimon gave to Reuven when he bought the property, that should become the kinyan kesef. That should become the kinyan straight away. So what's his question? How's he kinyan? So he says we're talking about a place where money is not the kinyan. Remember we learned before there's certain areas that money is not the kinyan, you have to do chazaka. Or since the money is no longer in existence right now, so just like I'm a kaddish ben milva, you're not mekudesh because there's nothing taking place right now when the Kenyan is. Same thing here. So how is it going? You know why? The fact that Shimon trusted him and didn't make a scandal. So now he gets pleasure. The Reuven, the Ghana gets pleasure that Shimon didn't lambast him and humiliate him in public. He didn't say anything because he relied that I'm going to fix it up. Because he relied on me that I'm going to try to fix it up. That Hana I'm getting now. It's like he paid me money. Hana is what is kind of is so we see from here. First, you say the whole idea of davar shalei ba'olam. Why isn't it kind of there's a big machlekes nachronim from this? What it seems is all to do with smichas das. Does a guy really think that this is going to happen or not? A davar shalei ba'olam is always a risk. It's not here yet. How do I know it's going to happen? So you're not 100% confident it's going to happen. The problem is not that there's nowhere for the Kenyan to coincide with. The problem is that I don't really mean it. I'm not 100%, confident that this is ever going to happen. But over here, because he was confident that I am going to fix it up for him, that's the Kenyan. So the Gemara is, if you learn that the problem is, if you learn that the Kenyan starts from back then, but no longer because he has faith. But if you learn the other way we learned before, that's nothing to do with the past. That's to do with right now. That's nothing to do with Davar. That's a separate thing altogether. Because there's no way for the Kenyan to be chal. Talking about further, it says, what I will yashin from my father, mochalach, I'm selling to you right now. Or I'm going to have a net in the water. I'm going to catch trap fish. Mochalach, at the moment that hasn't happened yet. Nothing happened. Now, why lo amaklum? If you're telling me that the guy has faith that's going to happen is good enough, so why lo amaklum? You should be a Kenyan. You said you're going to give it to me. Explicitly said you're going to give it to me. So the today. What's the difference if I say just for today or what I catch generally? The Gemara will explain soon. But that's not the point. The point here is that if he says that it says clearly that if I say any fish I'm going to catch today is going to be yours, it's garnished. It's not a Kenyan. So what do you mean the Gazlan went and bought the property from Reuben automatically becomes Shimon's? How? What do you mean smichas das? So here also the smichas das. You're going to catch. You're going to catch fish from me. The hot said, look, there's a great guy asking the question of Sheshes, and it's a strong question. I'll agree with you, he's a great guy of Sheshes. But I don't see any question in it. The difference is very simple. The guy goes fishing. Who said he'll catch fish? The guy, the father has assets. Who says that he's going to die? But who said his father won't sell all the assets before he dies? So it's not 100%. There's no smichas das. But in our case over here, he actually relied that he's going to go to the Niglam and organize it. And the Niglam is happy to get his money. Here he relied on the guy who will go out of his way to try to fix it up. Because he has a good vested interest, not just to help Shimon out, but he helped himself out. Reuben, not just because he feels guilty. Reuben doesn't want people walking around coughing aspersions or allegations against him. Interesting. Here the Gemara says the reason is you shouldn't call him a Gazlan. And before the Gemara said the reason is you should be, my name should be trustworthy. And Tracy says the fact the Gemara says my name should be trustworthy means that's the halacha, like Rav Ashi. Here the Gemara only gives one reason, which is what actually Mazutra said. So if you're going to bring a raya because the Gemara only brings one case, then what about this Gemara right here? I'm not sure. Anyway, you don't know who catch fish. You don't know if the father wants to pre-sell the properties. So who the same discussion? He said you don't have to bring this into the yeshiva. Rashi gives two shots. Either it's such a brilliant question, I'm scared I'm going to embarrass my student, they don't know the answer, or such a silly question, such an obvious answer. Some chadaita, don't bother. It's a brilliant question. And we have a good answer. So not just bring it into the walls of the yeshiva, but bring it into the higher hierarchy and the best dimension. Good question, good answer. Story in similar. And they ask this question. And they ask the very same question here. Rabbi said you don't have to bring it into the yeshiva for the same two opinions we said before. So Abai on the same page. They both said this is a brilliant question with a brilliant answer. Then you want to Sefer. Why in the Sefer if he said I'm going to catch fish today? That is a kinyan. If it's like what's in today and not today? If you're telling me that you don't, in fact, if you limit it to one day, it has less slichas das. If it's over a period of time, I'm sure eventually you'll catch fish. But if you give me only one day, then I have less confidence you're going to catch fish. And yet you tell me if I said only hayoim, it's a valid kinyan. Why? Valid transaction. Gemara says it's a special takana. I'm going to be sefer. If he says whatever I will yasher for my father today, you know what? The chamei takana is even though whatever it is, it's going to work from covered of it. Obviously, the guy wants to sell this property. He's desperate. He needs money to be able to bury his father, and because he needs money, his father's. We're talking about a case of father Geisis. He's on his deathbed, and therefore he needs money to buy tachrichin, to pay the chevra kadisha, and therefore we said, you know what? We're going to make a special takana that this sale will be a good sale, so that you can, and that's why if it's at hayim, that means you're desperate, and you're desperate for your covenant of your father. Once we allow that, we suspend the Easter altogether, and you can sell as much as you need. You only need $100, but you can sell $1,000 worth of your father's estate, or you're only limited to what you need for covenant of your father. The same thing is Mashatalim Shulosayim, the fish are catch today. Mishum Kedei Chayev. He pushes desperate. He needs to live, and therefore, but Rashi says clearly Dovamut. In other words, only a little bit. But again, the same machlek is if you're only limited to that little bit, or once you sell, you can sell whatever you want. Talking about it further. A guy says a friend, this field that I'm eventually going to buy. So no, I haven't bought it yet. When I will buy it, it is sold to you from today. Even though it's a davar shaloi ba'olam, right? I haven't bought it yet, and yet you are kind of. Tomorrow discussing it. If you think about it logically, it makes sense. If it's a sadastam, a field that I'm going to buy, I'm going to sell to you. So the guy has confidence. There's so many fields out there for sale. He'll eventually buy a field, so there's confidence here. Again, it revolves around confidence. If he says this particular field, I'm going to buy, I'm going to sell to you. Yeah, look, how do I know that he wants to sell? I don't know if he's going to sell. Is who says he'll sell? That's how it should be logically. However, the lakim, but I can tell you right now, I swear, Omar Rav holds even if it says this field and there's not such strong confidence, it's still a valid king. Now, who holds this idea that I'm going to sell you something I don't even have yet ownership of is a valid kinyan? Is Rameh. Rameh is the one who holds that you can sell a davar shaloi b'loy. We're going to have a mafkid because I don't have a field. That means I'm selling you my relationship. My relationship is not in existence yet, and not only that, I don't even know if I will ever have a relationship. Do I know for a fact I'll have a relationship? What if the guy refuses to sell? With the Tanya, and we learn, what do you call it? A guy says, so we had a kedushin. A man says to a woman, "He's catchli la'achash guy. You know what? You'll be mekudesh to me after I convert." So right now he's a guy. There's no kedushin. So shaloi b'olam la'achash his guy after you convert. La'achash after we become emancipated, freed from our masters, or you la'achash yamas bailach. After your husband died, you'll be a free woman. I want to marry you, and I'm giving you kedushin now. You'll be a mekudesh. After your brother-in-law gives you chalitza, you're mine. I'm married to your sister, but when she dies, we'll marry each other. Ain't a mekudeshes. Chacham say in all these cases, not mekudeshes. Rameh says mekudeshes. Rameh says she is mekudesh. Right now, in all these cases, like for example, she's an eved or she's a shivcha. Does she have control? Does the guy have control to set her free? It's up to the master. So this is mamash like a case of sadazu, this field, and we don't know if the vendor will ever sell. And yet Rameh says she's mekudesh. So the same thing here, Elikim, the Rav says is din, even if you're not sure that it's definitely going to happen, it's still mekudesh. But each says Rameh says mekudesh. That's a proof to that what I said. Elikim that mekudesh. How much more? How much is star number? We already had it before, but now the Gemara is going to elaborate. If somebody found a star hakna is when you write a star and you say that my properties are all encumbered, are all indebted to you, and even the loan never takes place, you already can take the value of whatever this says in the star from my properties. So then you found in the street, you give it back. You give it back to the lender because the barber already. You can't say, oh, but maybe the loan never took place. You can't say the loan never took place because who cares? A star hakana means even the loan didn't take place. You see, give back to the original owner. The imishum the cost of law. What are you worried about? That maybe it was written and he never activated it. Hashiba nafshe. The fact is that it's a star hakana, which means he's mishabed himself. The imishum purain. Maybe the reason why he found it on the floor is because it was already paid up. Remember Shmuel said before, he believes that if the loiva paid it up, the first act will be to rip it up. If he would pay it up, he would have to tore up again. Abba says, Abba, my father, Misafra Daina, the Mashmul Abba, my father was one of the scribes of the Dayanim by my teacher Shmuel, At that stage, I was very, very young. I was only 6 or 7 years old. With the Karna, and I remember that they would make the following announcements. Hani Shtore Akniosa, the Shtore Aknois, the Mishtakhe Beshuka you found in the street, and Hadrela Morai, give it back to Master Shmuel. I remember hearing directly from Shmuel this thing. Imagine 6 years old, he understood what was going on and didn't tell us. Amr said, Amr said, we also learned, Kol Maise Bezin, any act of a Bezin, which means Bezin, let's say, authenticated a contract, Hareze Yachze, you give it back to the lender. We don't think that it was paid off because it was ripped up and everything else. You give it back to the lender. We don't think that the loiva ever paid it up, and since it came out of a bezin, therefore we give it back to the plaintiff or the lender, whatever it is. This brisa, I'm not arguing. He says in halacha, but this brisa doesn't support it. Why not? Who said we're talking about an ordinary loan contract? Maybe we're talking about b'shtore chalta osa. It's a special star that bezin, after a dispute, paskins that you owe money to this other person, and you don't pay. So we go down to your property and we assess, and we give a document to the lender. Go to the property and take what you want. That star chalta osa, that star to taking, he didn't pay. That's why we're not chayshul correct. But a normal loan document, maybe you don't give it back. Maybe the lender paid up, he just didn't rip it up, or a star drachte. Again, a star which gives you the right to seize properties and so on. These haven't been paid. The law been paid, because you can't pay them because this is not the loan contract. This is a document that the bezin says go take it. Go take it. You have a right to take it. Like a sheriff's office. What do you mean? The Rabbi rejects Zayda's reputation. What you tell me these stores can't pay up? What do you mean? Even a property that Bezin gave the right to seize a property, the din is, we'll have this namafkid. Even if, let's say, I owe you $100, I couldn't pay you, so you took my field. I have right 12 months to come back to you and give you back the $100 and take the field back from the lender. Or I come from the doy. We believe, or I believe, the shuma hadalayla. I always have the right to take my property back. So I can. And what do you have? You have this warrant that you can keep my property, and I have the right to take it back for you. My time, but you know what the reason is? I'll tell you why. Why you maybe but you know why the reason is that we give it back to the lender. This your mama's a fool. If that guy has such a strong document that he has a right to seize your properties, when he seized your property, why don't you rip it up? Come see tomorrow another property of yours. This is very powerful. And here we definitely think that you didn't pay up yet. The party, in such a case, such a strong, powerful thing, you would not give him unless he exchanges with you the contract. Or let's say the guy says, I lost it. I don't have any more. He lied, whatever it is. Then said, fine, write me a star that you just sold me today the property. Because this date on this seizure would have been from 2 months ago, or a month ago, whatever it was. And then you write that you sold me the property today. So therefore, even if you pull it out, you won't take it back to me because I only got it today from you. The Medina okay, and he explains. Min hadin Min hadin really, you have once the guy sees the property. He doesn't have to get back to you. It's only it's only a behestas. It's only a be a mensch. Even though the Torah says, but how to do that is also Rabban explain each case how we do Vasisa Yosher. Therefore, what do you call it? So he's explaining why you should have given me a new star mechira now. He's saying since you should have given me since Manhadin, I really cannot take it back from you. I can't come back to you tomorrow and take it back from you. So if you seize my property, you're about to seize my property, this warrant, and you claim you don't have it anymore, I should say to you, write that you're selling it to me right now. Whatever it is, right that the borrower said I'm paying you now money instead of the property. Write that you are what do you call it? You're selling to me right now, or that if you're taking the property, write that you sold me the property. Therefore you don't come and collect again. Okay, you want to say, okay, what about a shtarchoy? That's talking about these special karkoy. About a shtarchoy, what are you going to say? Imis in the port, I can argue that no, that maybe we are choshel pro. And why is that? Imis in the port, what are you going to argue? What's your argument? No, you're saying we're not choshel that, what Shmuel's saying, that we're not choshel that you paid back because you were ripped up the shtar. Maybe not so. Maybe the Malva said, I don't have the shtar. I lost it. And furthermore, first of all, the mal was the line, the laying it. I said, I'm gonna give you tomorrow. Okay, that's a bit schwach because then you say, okay, I'll pay you tomorrow. Then. But inami afshitted the safras island. Could be the Malva said, look, you're supposed to pay for the contract, it was $50. You didn't have a penny, a grosh into your name. So not only did I lend you the money, but I paid the safer on your behalf. You just pay me back the loan. But I want to get paid for the money I laid out to the lawyers or the safer to write it. I'm not giving back to you till then. So therefore, maybe we are maybe he did pay up. I want to know why he didn't rip the stock because I was retaining it, and he's saying because I want to get paid. Okay, so therefore no raya one way or another from there. Doesn't want further. However, Shmuel Paskins, we're not worried about it, but Rabbi disagreed. Even if there's a authentication, like you time from the bezin, you don't give it back to the owner. You don't. Because we say maybe it's paid up. You don't have to say when there's no stamp from the bezin, because then you can go as another variable. You can cost a little bit. You can say that was never activated. And I feel the cost may have been. No bezin will authenticate or verify a star unless they know that it actually happened. They don't give it back. You know why? The Rabbi disagrees. He says it's possible you pay back, and so on. A question. It says that in the Braisa, any Maise Bezin, you give it back to the Malva. So we see clearly from here that we say it wasn't paid up. Yirmiyah Bri. So who said to Yirmiyah, even though he wasn't his son, but he was, you're very close to him. My son, like call Maise Bezin Shavim. We're not talking about every single Maise Bezin. We're talking about where the guy said that he's been established to be a liar. Because once he lied about owing a loan, therefore we don't trust him that he paid back. Because he's a Hurzik Kafir. Because once he was caught out lying, therefore that's it. He can be believed to pay back a loan. The mother could have answered yes. From now on, because his credibility has been shot, he should pay back in front of Adam. But the mother seems to be learning that no, you still be that he's paying back. Like I said before, the mission that says that we don't think he paid it back, we're talking about these special warrants, these special notes of seizure that gave him permission to take it, that we say you didn't pay back. Like Rab Zeta wanted to learn. Not like Rabbi who responded to Rab Zeta. No, people have a 12-month right to take it back, and so on. Like Rab Zeta, and that's it. And then the Gemara starts a new subject about a kafran. We'll continue Mitzvah Shabbos at 9 o'clock.